Technology continues to transform the wealth management industry, so much that some consider it a disruption. But for those who embrace and harness it, it's opportunity, a way to trailblaze, push past, and challenge the status quo. This is the thinking that drives a new breed of innovators to discover and develop new ways to do business, new ways to interact, and new ways to stay ahead of the changing landscape. But how do these cutting-edge ideas get discovered? And how can you get access to these industry innovators, the possibilities they offer, or the trends they create? It's Scratchworks, a fintech accelerator that connects innovative technology companies and entrepreneurs with wealth management luminaries. The result of extensive collaboration between its 5 founders, Scratchworks expands the possibilities for fintech companies and gives business leaders a front row seat to see what's next. As leaders of the top firms in the country, the founders, along with a consortium of industry professionals, determined 3 finalists based on submitted pitches. Scratchworks then celebrates the business or idea that best exemplifies the breakthrough thinking needed to be future-ready and transformative. And with the potential to receive seed funding, the result is a collaborative first step towards new discoveries, new relationships, and a whole new way of doing business. Because when innovative minds unite, the path is less a challenge and more a journey.
Hello, I'm David Cantor, head of the RIA and Family Office segments for Fidelity Institutional. And welcome to Scratchworks Season 3. Like so many of us, the Scratchworks team was faced with a unique challenge in these not-so-normal times. How can they continue their mission as a fintech accelerator that connects innovative tech companies with wealth management luminaries during a time when almost all connections are virtual? Well, when the world around you changes, you adapt. And that is exactly what the Scratchworks team did. This year, we're bringing Scratchworks directly to your home office for a fully virtual experience that promises more stories of innovation, anticipation, and ideas about how tech will continue to empower advisors to deliver more value to their clients. This is what you've come to expect from Scratchworks, and it is what we intend to deliver. This year's program will be brought to you in 4 episodes. Each of the first 3 episodes will feature an advisor tech finalist, and the 4th will reveal the true intentions of our investors as they decide if they will invest in any or all of these ventures. Let's start by meeting the team of investors who are helping to advance the digital transformation of the financial services industry. And our investors are joining us from their home offices from across the United States. So let's say a quick hello and make sure that they're ready to hear from our first finalist. So first we have Marty Bicknell from Mariner Wealth Advisors. Hello there, Marty.
Hey, David, how are you?
And we've got John Jones from Brighton Jones. John, how are you?
I'm doing great, David. Thanks for asking.
Thank you, John. We've got John Eady from Covenant. John, good to see you.
Good to see you, David. Look forward to the day.
Thank you. And we've got Shannon Usey from Beacon Point Advisors. Hi, Shannon.
Hey, David. How are you?
Fantastic. And Michael Nathanson from the Colony Group. Hi, Michael.
Hey, David. Great to be here.
Oh, great to see all of you. Thank you for being here for this season of Scratchworks. 3 companies have made it through the vigorous evaluation process and now hold the title of Scratchworks finalist. Actanalytics, a tool that enables wealth managers to have value-based conversations with their clients utilizing a proprietary ESG scoring methodology. ReAllocate, which is helping to simplify the complex world of direct real estate investing by providing RIAs with an easy-to-use platform and helping advisors build better client portfolios. And Lifeworks, who is building a digital ecosystem on a common data model that connects the client experience across all segments of the wealth management process, delivered in a complete operating system for advisors. We'll meet actanalytics and ReAllocate in our future episodes. Today's episode will feature our first finalist, Lifeworks.
When the name Lifeworks was created, it was the idea of taking what matters most in your life and aligning that with the work that you do. Lifeworks. When people can simplify their lives and then focus on what really matters, then they can live intentionally. There are very few things that I can think of in life that are more important, life-changing interactions that we get to have. Advisors are constantly changing hats. They're going from organizing data and doing notes for compliance from my meeting with a client, to doing financial planning, to logging into another software to trade assets or to manage portfolios, and it's just a disconnected experience. So our light bulb went off and we said the only way for us to win the future is we have to have a client experience that's client-driven, that's immediate, that's seamless and intuitive. And we just didn't see that platform or that software available for advisors. And so we said, if clients can get it through a robo-advisor, why can't they get that with a traditional advisor? So a lot of software applications and tech companies come in and they build a piece of software to fix a problem, but they're not running the financial firm. They're not an advisor. And so there's always a gap there. And then they try and kind of make it work over time. And we said, let's actually just build an ecosystem that connects all of the client experience pieces of the wealth management process. So digital client onboarding, credit card and ACH payment processing, interactive financial planning tools, communication tools between the client and the advisor. And then we're connecting that to clearing, custody, trading, compliance, new account opening, asset management. We're putting it all in one system. When that aha moment happened for us and we realized that we had to build this solution to create a better client experience, we said this could be something that the entire industry could use, that could shift how clients and advisors interact. We're building the tool that takes the average American, whether they're a young professional starting out that's pretty accustomed to technology, and also that baby boomer who's either in retirement or approaching retirement. That average client is being underserved because the technology that advisors in our advisor industry is bringing forth to them lags way behind what's available to them in the direct-to-consumer robo-advising space. And that's where we're going to play, and I think that's the opportunity that we have to fill that gap and really dominate in that level. So my partners and I share this core belief that what we are doing is noble work. And we get the opportunity to do it better and to build platforms and tools that are gonna make it better for the clients, for us as advisors, and then for other advisors in the industry. That is super exciting, and that's what gets us waking up every day, putting our life savings on the line and charging hard to build something that doesn't exist right now in our space.
The time has come for Ron to make his pitch to our investors. So let's get started. Ron, good luck, and the floor is yours.
Hello, Scratchworks investors. My name is Ron Bullis, and I am the president and founder of LifeWorks Advisors. I'm seeking $1.8 million in capital in exchange for 6% ownership in my company. I started LifeWorks Advisors because I believed that the financial advising industry was broken, both for advisors and for clients, in three significant ways. The first is a disconnected client experience driven largely by fragmented advisor technology that lags way behind modern fintech platforms. The second is an outdated business model that overwhelmingly focuses on charging clients an assets under management fee while giving away the one thing clients consistently say they want more of and they're willing to pay for, namely personalized advice and financial planning solutions. And the third is a scalable and predictable client acquisition system for advisors. In the US, personal assets under management are approximately a $40 to $50 trillion value and growing each year. Revenues from financial advising and wealth management fees are approximately a $200 billion a year industry. In the 2019 Ernst & Young Global Wealth Management Report, they found that 1/3 of all clients said they plan to switch wealth management providers within the next 3 years, with the youngest and wealthiest being the most apt to change. 80% of the clients surveyed said that they wanted more personalized advice and financial planning solutions, but half of them remained on the sidelines, disengaged. And 50% said they were dissatisfied with the fees they were paying and how they were being charged those fees. So on top of all of that, in the last 6 months, our industry has changed, and I don't believe it will ever go back to the way it once was. You see, dinner events and seminars, canceled. Face-to-face meetings with clients in our office, gone. Business events, networking events, industry events, canceled, canceled, canceled. The need for large investments in brick and mortar offices, transformed. Yet client acquisition and servicing remains the biggest challenge advisors and firms are facing today. But today is a new digital environment. I believe there's a massive and untapped opportunity for firms that can solve these challenges for advisors and their clients. In doing so, not only will they win the clients, they'll also win the advisors and transform the way wealth management services are delivered to clients in the future and valued by clients. Advisors and firms that don't make this transition with their business models, that don't invest in building a better client experience, will find themselves like businesses have in other industries where technology has come along and made them obsolete and irrelevant. They'll have a client base, but it'll be decaying, and they'll wake up one day and wonder what went wrong. LifeWorks Advisors is building a digital ecosystem on a common data model that unifies an intuitive and seamless client experience across all segments of the wealth management space, and then connects that seamlessly to custody, clearing, compliance, and account management. You see, my firm has been solving these challenges for our advisors and our clients already. In fact, it's what allowed us to grow rapidly from $0 in assets under management just a few years ago to over $100 million in assets under management today, namely by moving clients from outdated business and servicing models over to a better client experience and a more profitable business model. We're now ready to bring our platform and our solution to thousands of advisors and their clients across the United States. So Scratchworks investors, who wants to join me as we continue to build a winning client experience and we win the future of our industry?
Well, great pitch, Ron. I want to just ask you a couple questions. The first thing that I want to understand better is exactly how big this vision is. I love the vision, and it is the right vision. It is a clear need in the industry. But how big is the vision? And so specifically what I'm asking you is what's included in LifeWorks? And specifically, as you answer that question, could you address the big three: portfolio management, CRM, financial planning software? I'm asking because I want to know how big this is, what the real opportunity is, and also who you're going to be taking on in the industry.
How big is the vision? It's extremely big. The opportunity here in this space is absolutely massive. I'll give an example of this real quick before I answer specifically like what's included in LifeWorks. Most of us have probably seen the industry news about Personal Capital selling for $1 billion price tag in the last couple of months. They had a fully integrated digital ecosystem that connected all these tools. The difference was instead of providing it to advisors, they just went direct to consumer. So the opportunity here is that was one company with 10 billion of assets under management selling for $1 billion because of the way they built their tech platform. So what we're doing at LifeWorks is we're first and foremost financial advisors. So when I left a large national firm, I thought, goody, I get to build my tech stack, build the client experience I want. And I woke up 3 years later with 20 different software platforms, some of them API'd and connecting to each other and supposing to talk. And what we found was it made a disconnected client experience. So we're starting with the first things first. We built a digital client onboarding platform, and it's truly digital. Clients can self-service, they can enter, they can select their financial planning level that they want. They go through a guided onboarding process. They sign and acknowledge all of their disclosures and documents, and then they're moved into our credit card and ACH payment processing portal. Once they leave that, they enter into our client portal, and inside of there, the work that needs to be done for an advisor to do really good, in-depth financial planning for a client. The client and the advisor can collaboratively enter data in real time. The clients can go through a guided data onboarding process so that me as the advisor doesn't have to spend 30 minutes with a piece of paper or a fact finder or something or typing data in. We're giving our clients the opportunity to do that work on their time. What's being tested right now and is almost ready to go to production is digital account opening. So when you talk about portfolio management, right? We have to have a CRM, and then we push the data from our CRM over to our account opening software, and then we push it from there potentially over to our custodian's portfolio management tool. For the advisor and for the client, the ability to open accounts, to move money, to fund accounts, to ACAT stuff is right inside of the system, and they can push a button and do it. The aspects of a CRM are also built into our platform, and we have plans on expanding those in terms of workflows and automations for the firms that use our platform and give them the ability to customize how they want that client experience to look. All of this also feeds in real time to the client's financial planning tools. So as they open investment accounts, as their accounts go up and down in value, as they aggregate accounts from other banks and financial services company, all those feed right into their financial planning seamlessly. So everything that an advisor or a firm needs to run their company is built into or will be built into our ecosystem.
is it an overlay strategy? So are you looking at other platforms you're integrating inside of your system? So I noticed that you have a login to eMoney on your website and Orion. Are you using the platforms to build your platform, or is it all proprietary in-house that you guys are building?
Yeah, great question. We've been using Orion, we've been using eMoney, we've been using several different CRMs that we've tested. Those are going away. So we started rolling out our platform for our clients about 2 weeks ago. We have a transition date to have all 350 of our client households transitioned to our platform by the end of September. And then we're cutting off of Orion. Early next year, we'll be cutting off of eMoney. We'll also be cutting off of our document and client file storage. We'll be cutting off of Smarsh and Zix for archiving. All of these things we looked at and said, for a firm to be profitable and compete in the future, you can't have your cost per advisor be so high that you have to continue to try and find advisors that have 50 plus million or 100 million a year of AUM. You also, I don't can have a system that's going to win the future where you have to say to a client, look, you have to have a $500,000 minimum account size or we're not profitable and we can't touch you. So we've been envisioned building a system where we take all of those things out and we build it into a common data model. If you use Orion and eMoney, they're powerful platforms. They do an awesome job, but they're still disconnected platforms and they have data sync issues and stuff goes down. And then clients are logged into eMoney and wondering what their performance looks different in eMoney than in Orion and things like that. So we're taking all those out and we're building those as proprietary tools inside of our platform. So billing, for instance, and performance reporting, two of the functions Orion does really well. We've automated those in our system for advisors.
So Ron, I love the silver bullet concept. It's something folks have been working on for many, many years, but it seems like you face a challenge with having to build to the least common denominator. And so if an advisory firm has clients at all levels of net worth and complexity, how do you build all of that into a system while at the same time keeping it simple enough for the 25-year-old just getting started?
Yeah, so we've been really mindful of that. I think, and I'll be clear, I think if we look at the stratas of how our industry tries to kind of separate clients, let's say there's this ultra high net worth strata, like $500 million and up or something, and then you have this high net worth, and maybe we define that as like 100 million to 500 or something like this. Part of what we're doing with our platform is we're saying, look, all the low value mundane tasks, account opening, funding, transferring, signing documents, right? I still use that as if we're signing anymore, it's clicking a button. Those all need to be automated so that the advisor, whether they are building a model to serve the mass affluent, whether they're building a model to serve next gen clients that are highly technologically like sophisticated, these digital natives, we have to build an environment where the advisor can spend 70% of their time doing what they need to do best, which is interacting with their clients and helping them navigate their life.
Ron, I'm trying to figure out what is built today versus what is the dream to build and integrate down the road. And so I wrote down kind of like onboarding is one system, planning, financial planning is a system, a CRM is a system, and reporting is a system. What have you actually built today? It sounds like you have some onboarding technology that you've built. Have you built any of these other ones, or is the plan to have them integrated and build them and have proprietary products?
Yeah, John, that's a fabulous question. So what we built so far today, I'll give the highlights. So digital client onboarding, credit card and ACH processing, and a billing payment center, essentially, where clients can say, I want to pay my asset management fee, my financial planning fees via my checking account or via my credit card, or I want to pay it from my investment account. So a fully client-controlled billing portal. We've built what I'll call the backbone for the entire system, which is really the data model that can take in personal demographic data that we would have in a CRM. It can take in all the financial planning data that you might type into an eMoney, Money Guide Pro, Right Capital, et cetera. It can aggregate client accounts and liabilities from external institutions using Yodely. That's all built. Okay. The opening accounts digitally, and I say digitally, meaning it doesn't kick off a DocuSign string. It doesn't create some other secondary processes. Client can go through, click a button, and open an account, as well as the advisor. That's also built. We just are in the process right now of finishing our mobile version of these pieces of the platform. And what's coming next on deck is a integration with Google Enterprise. So single sign-on for Google. We'll be using them for all of our email management, compliance, archiving, communications. So there's a lot of it that's actually already been built. There's some of it that's in process right now. What hasn't been built is the interactive financial planning tools and what I'm going to call the one-click compliance tool.
Ron, so do you have a CRM built out? I'm just trying to get this.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yep. Great. I got lost in that question. Yep. So we have the basis of the backbone of the CRM built. What we don't have are the automations around like task workflows, notifications for, say, like birthdays or events or something like that. But those are envisioned for next year.
So the plan is to create a CRM as good as a company like Salesforce, for an example.
Yeah, that's a loaded question. I think that the plan is to create a CRM that's actually utilized by advisors. I've watched advisors all over the country use their CRM for nothing more than a Rolodex of dates of birth and client notes. So when we talk about like high-end uses of CRM in terms of like connecting business processes and automations of different tasks from accounting to client management, et cetera, I think a lot of those things are already built into our system, but we're not trying to compete with a Salesforce. What we recognize is that for the advisor, they have to switch hats, right? So they got their CRM hat on and they take that off and they put their account management hat on, they take that off and they go into Orion to do performance reporting for a client or whatever, and they're constantly switching, right? So I don't think we're going to go out there and say, hey, we're a better CRM than Salesforce or Dynamics or something like that. That's not the plan. The plan is to actually build out a CRM that works for financial advising firms and that works really well and is seamless with all the data between the things that we have to do every day as advisors.
Hey, Ron, one of the things I think about, your CRM comment was great. One of the things I think about because you've built all this internally, how do you think about security? What have you done around that aspect of your business?
So there's a couple of things that keep me up at night besides my 4-year-old who has a penchant for crawling in and kicking the covers off me. The security is a really big deal. So as we started looking at it and building it, we adopted some security technology that's pretty cutting edge because we were starting at zero. We had a greenfield and we could build up. So we've invested pretty heavily into two-factor authentication securities, some other tools that capture not just IP address, time and date stamps for registering a digital signature, but a lot of other things that are going on in the background. Part of the reason why we're adopting an enterprise level integration with Google is because I think they do security at probably one of the best levels in terms of data integrity and storage and stuff like that. But let's face it, we live in a world where the possibility of getting hacked or a phishing email, this is a constant threat. And it's something that we are highly conscious of, especially because our platform has all of the client's information in it in one spot and the ability for somebody to push a button and move money and fund accounts. And there's a lot of functionality that's there. So we did spend a fair amount of time thinking about not just what security has to look like today, but how are we going to keep this data safe, ensure password protection, ensure two-factor authentication, manage lost devices, et cetera. And I would say on the advisor side, because all of our data is in the cloud and it's in our ecosystem, it's much easier to manage security at the advisor level because they're not pulling stuff down to their machines. Right. So our system right now works for an advisor or for a client, either on their mobile device, their laptop, their iPad. And the goal is to keep it all up there so that they're not pulling stuff down. I still talk to advisors around the country and networking that have file systems with a bunch of paper in it, or they've got a laptop and they've got all their client files sitting on their laptop, and then they carry the thing home with them and, those things. So I think it's just going to be, as you guys probably know as well as I do, just a constant thing of having to invest in that and try and stay ahead of the security concerns.
So one more question. So can you really kind of bifurcate or explain the differences to me from the client experience versus the advisor experience? What's being seen? What's that look like?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, Marty. One of the things that we were very mindful of as we started building our platform was saying, what if we built one user interface? So essentially what the advisors see is virtually the same thing the client sees. And we did this for a couple of reasons. One, so when a client calls with a question, the advisor doesn't have to try and flip screens and then figure out what the client's looking at and help them solve a problem. But it created the seamless ability for them to collaborate. So the advisor has functionality and a little bit of a different menu structure than what the client has, but essentially the user interface, what they see and what they can do is essentially the same. Imagine that the advisor can do everything the client can do, but then has a lot of the tools that they need to still manage that client relationship, like keeping notes, entering some different data, creating some financial planning scenarios, things like that.
So I'd like to just come back to review some of the things that you just said, Ron, and think a little bit about the valuation you're putting on LifeWorks. So you're basically putting a valuation of about $30 million on the company. You've got a big vision. You say that you're not competing with a company like Salesforce. Kind of sounds like you are to me. If you're not competing with Salesforce, at a minimum, you're competing with Orion and Tamarack and SS&C, all of which are also trying to integrate platforms and bring all these pieces of technology together. You can disagree with me if you want in a second, but really what my question is given the valuation you're looking for, given what you're up against, given where you are right now, how does a guy who's also running an RIA have enough time to devote to something like this? When we invest in a company, we're investing not just in a vision and an idea, technology, but also in the people. Are you trying to run an RIA and also trying to do all of this, take on all these titans?
That is an awesome question. So the first thing is I don't sleep at night. That's one of the answers. But
I imagine not.
I think it's a really fair question. And one of the responses I have, and I hope this doesn't seem to be a little bit of a deflection, is part of the reason why I think we are going to be successful in building out this technology platform is because we are running an RIA. We actually understand it. Lots of people have built flashy software for our industry. I'll go back to picking on Salesforce. Awesome CRM worth, I don't even know what, like tons of money, right? But you got to spend a fortune to customize that thing if you take it down. And if you're a small RIA and you go out there and pay $200 a pop or $150 a seat, right? And then you look at that and say, well, that just drives my cost per advisor up. It makes me need to take more margin from the advisor as opposed to letting them keep more of their money. So the outside guys that I would say are just tech companies like a Salesforce, I think it's really easy for me to articulate why we're different than them. So let's tackle Orion, Tamarack, for instance. So Envestnet, Tamarack, right? They've got Money Guide Pro. They've got the TAMP service. I think they'll probably be their own custodian here shortly, the way they're kind of buying everything and gobbling it up. But one of the differences between established companies that are buying technology and trying to integrate it together, they still have 6, 7, 8, 10 different data models, and they're pushing all this data together. You guys have probably worked with large custodians and the Envestnets and the Tamaracks on integrations or getting your company connected, and it's a significant challenge. So when we started with a greenfield kind of approach and said, we're just going to build everything sequentially, step by step to run an RIA, right? It gives us a really large competitive advantage in this space because we don't have legacy data models that we're still trying to support. We don't have, integrations with 2 or 3 or 4 different tech platforms that we've recently bought and we're trying to smash together.
So Ron, take us through the numbers. Where are you with respect to AUM, revenues, how much you've invested in the company, and current burn rate?
Yeah, great question. So 350 households, a little shy of 100 million of personal assets in the system right now of AUM. We've invested a little over 1.5 million so far. And in terms of burn rate, we're actually a break even right now at our company level. Part of why we need to raise capital is to add additional development sources so we can continue to grow.
That was a great discussion. But are the investors ready to make a commitment? We'll find out soon. Join us for our final episode as we continue the discussions with our finalists in our season finale, where we will arrive at the moment we're all waiting for. What deals are on the table? And how will our finalists respond? Please join us as our investors will wrap up their discussions with our finalists. We'll see you then.
Be sure to join us for the next episode of Scratchworks, Season 3. The investors hear from our next finalist, Mike Unwin from Actanalytics, a tool that enables wealth managers to have value-based conversations with their clients utilizing a proprietary ESG scoring methodology. We hope you can join us.